to share this with another staff member. So what is Scrum? Scrum, you have different people on the team who work on the website, the product, whatever it is, not from like an end-to-end function, but in what are called sprints, which if you don't know what those are, that's totally fine. I'll explain it as we kind of go. All right, so we're gonna imagine the scenario. We have Eric's website. Jonathan is the designer. Rodolfo is head of sales. All right, so let's imagine my dog walking site. So instead of me going to Jonathan saying, hey, Jonathan, what do I want? I want the landing page. I want the contact page. I want the about page. And I'm going to pay $7.50 for that. All right, and I say, and just contact me when you're done. This creates a lot of problems, doesn't it? Like we just figured out. Because I, as the client, I have very little involvement of what's going on with Jonathan and Rodolfo. I don't know what they're up to over there. And they hand me the finished product, and it's not really what I was looking for. So I'm upset, they're upset, more work, rework. They want more money out of me. I want a different product out of them. What if Jonathan and Rodolfo said, hey, Eric, listen, you want to build a website? That sounds great. How about we go this way instead? Instead of you giving us your 3 pages you want and $750, why don't instead you say, we're going to do the landing page for you. It's going to cost you $250 and we'll be done in 1 month. All right. In 1 month, we come back to you. We have the landing page done. And then we show it to you, and then you get feedback from you, and we'll go from there. I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of interesting. And then we'll keep building on it. All right. So over here, not going to let me grab that. I'm just going to point with an arrow. This right here, contact, landing page, about page, is in what is called our product backlog. All right. So we had our meeting, the landing page meeting, and that was our sprint planning meeting. What we're going to do during this sprint, which is 30 days long, we're going to do the landing page for $250. Here's Rodolfo and Jonathan and their team. They went ahead and put the landing page into the sprint backlog. Go ahead and put that there. And now these guys spent the next 4 weeks. They're not working on the contact page. They're not working on the about page. They're working on the landing page, the page with me, walking a dog that people will see when they go to Eric's dog walking website. All right. It's 1 month, 4 weeks, and every single morning at, let's say, 10 a.m., Rodolfo and Jonathan sit down and say, okay, what are we going to work on today? What's our daily scrum going to look like today? What did I do yesterday? What am I going to work on today? What are my impediments? That's going to talk about that a little bit later. And then what ends up happening, which is the magic thing about Scrum, is let me go ahead and start here. The product went from there to the finished work to what's called the sprint review. All right. Who's at the sprint review meeting? It's Eric. It's Jonathan. It's Rodolfo. And I say, okay, you guys had a really good start here. I like these elements of the page. I like the colors. I like the fonts. I like the feel and the vibe of the page. I like the graphic you put there, I like the logo you put there. But these areas, I think I could, I prefer these instead. So what happens is they say, write down what I want changed. They put it back here into the product backlog over here to the bottom left. Okay, no problem, Eric. We'll make those 3 or 4 changes for you. All right. Now, what do? They go back into the sprint planning meeting. They decide, okay, in this next 4 weeks, we're going to fix the pages from the landing page, fix the details that Eric wants changed. And then we're going to go to the sprint backlog. And we're also going to add the contact page as well. All right, 4 weeks go by. And now we have the changes Eric wants and the contact page that Eric likes. We come back down here to sprint review. And I say, wow, this contact page looks great. Here's another $250. All right, sounds good. Now we're going to do the about page, right? We already did the first 2. Now we're going to do the about page. follow the yellow brick road, product backlog, sprint planning meeting, sprint backlog, sprint, daily scrum, sprint review. Hey, this website's awesome. Thank you so much for building this. This is perfect. It meets all of my qualifications. Here's my remaining 250. This is awesome. Now, someone besides Jonathan and Rodolfo help me understand this. Is it going to be easier or harder for them to build a contact and about page after they know what I like for the landing page? Is it easier or harder for them to build it? Armani?
It's going to be easier because they already know what you are expecting of a web page, so they can build around knowing what you like personally.
Exactly. They already know what I like. They know what I'm looking for. They know the vibe I'm looking for. By the time they get to the about page, it's like a breeze that they can do it in no time at all. The process is so much easier. One thing I didn't mention is a sprint retrospective. This also happens in a sprint. Is Rodolfo and Jonathan, they sit down and say, okay, what went well? What can we improve for next time? How can we make our next sprint even better? And that, in a nutshell, is Scrum. All right, so that in a nutshell is Scrum. Any questions on that process? This right here, because you understand this, you at least understand the basics of what Scrum is. Are there any questions on what we just explained here? Yeah, Daniel.
Yeah, I'm still kind of understanding the sprint backlog. What is that exactly?
No, that's a great question. So the product backlog is everything that I want done. This is all 3 pages. This is the functionalities I want. This is the contact page. This is the photo of me walking a dog. This is my credentials. This is my logo. This is everything the website's going to have. But you're not going to do every single one of these things in a sprint. So what you're going to do is you're going to have a sprint planning meeting and you're going to say, we're going to do 1, 2, 3 things during this sprint. All right. What's the most important things? This is called grooming the product backlog. What are the 3 most important things that we can do? We're going to do them here. And it's all we're going to focus on during this sprint. Okay. We're not going to focus on, if our 3 things that we're going to focus on during this sprint is, let's just say, contact page, credentials, and I don't know, social media links. That's all we're going to focus on for these 4 weeks. Those components of the website, we are not focusing on everything else during this time. We're focusing on these 3 things only. That gives us the focus to really just dial in on what needs to get done this iteration. That's the difference between the 2. So the product backlog is everything. The sprint planning meeting is what we're going to focus on this sprint. And the sprint backlog is just that. We're going to focus on the contact page, the credentials, social media links. That's it. Is that helpful, Daniel?
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions, folks, on this? Rodolfo?
Yes, at the daily Scrum meeting, is the Scrum Master, the team, and the product owner in it, or is it some of them?
That's an awesome question. So the daily Scrum is actually for the development team. The Scrum Master does not need to be there, nor does the product owner need to be there. The Scrum Master just has to make sure the daily Scrum is happening, but they're not even supposed to lead it or facilitate it. I'll share more here in a few minutes of what happens at daily Scrum, but no, it's just for the development team, and not for stakeholders, not for sponsors. I don't show up as the client at daily Scrum. That's not the point. The point is a 15-minute standing meeting where you discuss what you did yesterday, what you're going to do today, and what are the impediments. The only thing the Scrum Master does is make sure that meeting happens. They don't have to be there. Yeah, great question. Any other questions on that? All right, so you have, 3 sort of roles within a Scrum team. The product owner. So this is the person really who says, what is it that we're trying to accomplish here? What are our priorities for this project? What is the greatest value for this project? And they're in charge of the details. Interesting thing about it is everything around you, believe it or not, had a product owner at one point. From your phone to the can of LaCroix I'm holding to the plastic spoon that I ate my yogurt with earlier, there was somebody somewhere that thought through the fine details of the product. Okay. A Scrum Master is the person, and what they do is, I love the title they have, the servant leader. What do I do as a Scrum Master? I carry the food and the water. I make sure that the team has everything they need to be successful. And what is the development team? They are the self-organizing group. They're the people who decide, hey, what are we going to take on this increment? What are we going to accomplish? What's realistic for us? They're the experts. In traditional project management, as you can see down here, they're oftentimes these are the people who are told what to do. But in Scrum, it's kind of the opposite. They say, hey, this is what we can manage to do this cycle, this sprint, this iteration. All right. So another way to look at it, what does the product owner do? The vision, the product, the collaboration. What does the Scrum Master do? The team, the organization, and then serving the product owner. Easiest way to remember this, product owner is product driven, Scrum Master is process driven. More focused on the vision, more focused on the team. All right. So I always like to ask this question because it's always fun to learn about each other. If you could think about your own skill sets, your own interests, your own passions, how you're kind of wired. In the chat box, would you see yourself more as a product owner, someone who's more focused on the product and the vision? Would you see yourself more as a Scrum Master, a person who's more focused on the team and the organization of the team? Are you a process person or a product person? In the chat box, what do you think? All right. A lot of Scrum Masters, a few product owners for sure. And here's the thing about this setup is that you need both, right? If you don't have a quality product, you're never going to, make the client happy. But if you don't have a team that can work together, you'll never achieve the product. So you need both and. So that's a really quick snapshot on kind of the basics of Scrum. We got a couple more slides I want to click through with you guys before we can kind of put this into practice. Let me go ahead and pull this one up. Right, that's what I'm looking for. All right, so Scrum Masters and product owners, they actually don't do the work for the team. All right, they don't do the work for the team. And give you all a scenario. You just wrapped up a 30-day sprint with your Scrum team and you're doing your sprint retrospective. You worked hard a sprint and are exhausted and felt like your team members did not pull their weight like you did. The meeting concludes and everyone is gathering their things and ready to leave. You pull Scrum Master Samantha to the side and vent your frustrations about your team not pulling their weight. She looks back to you and says, bring it to the team, and keeps unpacking her bag. Why does Samantha do this? And what do you think her comment means? So knowing what we know so far about Scrum, now we just started this 30 minutes ago, but why do you think Samantha said to you, just bring it to the team as opposed to her solving this problem for you? Anyone raise their virtual hand and share? Here you are, frustrated, angry. My team didn't work like I did. I'm going to tell the Scrum Master she's going to solve this problem for me. And she says, well, just talk to the team about it. Why did she take that approach? Jonathan?
Because she should have been in like, he should have been waiting for like a sprint review to go over everybody's progress on the work and let anybody know, where they're lacking and where they can improve.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, in Scrum, you have regular feedback loops. It's called daily Scrum. You have a meeting every day, what's going on? What are your impediments? That would have been a great time to talk about it then, for sure. Let me hear from Katrina Moody. Katrina, why do you think the Scrum Master didn't solve this problem for you?
Um, I'm not sure.
All right. How about Jeanette?
I would say no, I don't know.
You don't know. Okay. How about who have I heard from? How about Justin? What do you think?
Can you repeat the question?
Yep, the question's on the screen, Justin.
I would just say to repeat what Jonathan said. I think they should have said earlier during Scrum feedback, and instead of waiting to the last minute when they wrapped up their 30 days.
So you're saying that the feedback should have been given in the daily Scrum, not
Yeah.
wait till the very end. Okay. Thanks. Ian, anything you'd add?
I think as a whole, like piggyback, I agree with everyone else saying that it should be addressed earlier, but it's also like saying at the end, just saying the statement that I think the rest of the team is not pulling their weight is a sign of also kind of self-centeredness. So it's also kind of his problem. So I agree with what Samantha did.
Yeah, for sure. And Rodolfo, what would you add?
I would say that at the daily scrum, like since like Samantha's not like, even though she's a master, I think the feedback will carry more value if the person who directly like experiences the the trouble would say it, because they're like they know what they're feeling. So by them expressing themselves, I think the team will understand them more than Samantha saying it. Even though Samantha's a scrum master, I think like a member of the team, if like the person who's actually facing the problem, if they say it, it carries more value because they know what the problem is. So
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're very close. What I'm looking for is that when you're on the development team, you know what's happening more than anybody else because you're the one doing the work. And when you get to the workforce, if you have a problem with a team member, you don't, go tell your boss or go tell HR. You talk to them about it, professionally. And you do it in real time. Here at Europe, we talk a lot about feedback. And that's exactly what you need to have as a professional, a good feedback culture. So I never played rugby, but apparently in rugby, this is called a scrum. So if you look down, you can kind of see the ball at the bottom right. They're all fighting for the ball. And this is kind of where scrum comes from. People putting their heads together, collaborating, and they're trying to throw the ball to the guy on the right, one in the red jersey, one in the black jersey. So I said this already, but I'll reiterate it. What is a scrum meeting? 3 questions. What did I do yesterday? What will we do today? And what are the impediments? What is blocking you from achieving your deliverable? Scrum meetings are only 15 minutes and should be standing meetings. What does that mean? That means everyone who's able is actually going to stand. Not, you don't go in, you don't sit down, you don't get some donuts, you don't get some coffee, you don't get a bagel, you don't open your laptop. It's supposed to be 15 minutes standing, real quick, sync up. Why is this important? Why only 15 minutes? Why not 45 minutes? Why not an hour and a half? Why is that 15 minutes so important? Stacy Peralta.
I think since it should be quick, since it is 15 minutes, it should be like a standing meeting, as they say.
But why do you think they do that? Like, why should it be quick?
Come back to me.
All right, no problem. So really what it is this. A scrum meeting should be quick because you want to have it in the morning, same time, same place. All you're trying to do is answer these 3 questions. you're not trying to have a, long meeting. It's supposed to be a really quick, hey, this is what's happening, let's sync up. And if you have, a question that's gonna take longer than that, or you want to talk to somebody offline, you do that there. But no, it's not designed to be a 30-minute, 45-minute, hour and a half long meeting. It's designed to, prepare you for the work, not actually do the work. And finally, the sprint review and retrospective. What is the review? It's demoing the work they just completed. So to use my example, I'm sitting down with the website designers that helped me build my dog walking website, Jonathan and Rodolfo. They're showing me what they worked on that past sprint. I'm providing feedback. They're telling me what they did. They're showing it to me. And then what is a sprint retrospective? That is when Rodolfo and Jonathan sit down and say, okay, what did we do well this sprint, and what can we improve on for next time? Those are kind of the ceremonies, you call it that, within Scrum. So where they are right here. So you plan for the sprint, you have the sprint of the daily Scrum, sprint review, and sprint retrospective. I apologize, it got cut off there at the bottom. Those are the Scrum events or the Scrum ceremonies. Any questions on any of those, folks? Rodolfo?
Yeah, I was gonna ask if can the daily Scrum start without the Scrum Master, or it could be without him?
Yeah, you do not need the Scrum Master at the daily Scrum. That's just for the development team. Good question. Any other questions on this? All right, why don't we go ahead and take a 5-minute break, come back at 11:11, and we'll do a breakout activity, prepare us. Yeah, before we go, Pauline, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question, but it's not regarding like the topic of right now. I was
Oh, no problem. Yeah, we can talk during the break. Everyone else, see you back at 11:11.